Let us, in that case, begin today's session, the final session of the mental body, with an invocation and a prayer. Okay, so please sit straight, keep your spine straight, keep your chin parallel to the floor, keep your shoulders relaxed, and take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And with that first exhalation, just be aware of your whole body. Be aware of all the knots and the tensions you're carrying around. Be aware of any feelings of discomfort. And as you exhale, let go. So inhale, exhale, and just let go. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your tongue connected to the palate. Inhale. And as you exhale, just let go. Inhale. Be aware of your whole body. And remember, I am not the body. Exhale. Inhale. Be aware of your feelings. I am not the feelings. Exhale. Inhale. Be aware of your thoughts. I am not the thoughts. Exhale. Inhale. I am not even the mind. The mind is just an instrument of the soul. Exhale. Now you're floating. I am not the body, not the emotions, not the thoughts, not even the mind. I am the soul. I am that I am. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, divine power. I am connected to the higher soul. I am one with the higher soul. I am that I am. Now inhale. Feel that you're just light. Your physical body dissolved away. Your etheric double, the energy body, dissolved away. Your astral body has dissolved. Your mental body has dissolved. You are a being of light, and this light is expanding in all directions. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark within me. I am a child of God, connected with God, one with God. I am one with all. And be aware in your state of awareness, in your state of floating consciousness, be aware of every person, every being around you. Mentally become aware of all the people in this room, in this workshop, in this classroom. Be aware of all the people who will be joining in later, because at the mental level, we are all connected. So be aware of the mental connection with everyone who is here physically and everyone who will be joining in energetically in some time. Be aware of your heart. Feel a sense of happiness and joy on seeing everyone together and say, I am happy you are here. Mentally, be aware, I am happy you are here. And now receive, because as you've given happiness, receive the happiness from all these other people, from all these other souls. Receive that feeling of happiness at being here. Keep your tongue connected to the palate. Inhale slowly. Inhale the love. Exhale. Exhale slowly. Exhale deeply. Inhale once more. Energize your body. Feel the power in your hands, in your legs. Move your fingers. Keep your eyes closed though. Move your fingers. Move your toes. Inhale once more. Exhale. Inhale once more. Be aware of your eyes. Open your eyes with a smile. Exhale. I'm happy you're here. How does that feel? Feel charged up? Feel good? Feeling nice? One of the reasons why this is so invigorating, so recharging, is because we are now, as we are studying these items, as we are studying these materials, we are becoming consciously aware of the various energies within our system. We are becoming aware of a greater degree of control over our bodies. Like right now, if I said, show me your thumb, everyone can do that. Show us your thumb. Okay? 2 thumbs up. Show me your palms. Now, if I say, wriggle your thumbs on your toe, on your feet, can you do that? Can you wriggle the toes on your feet? Can you wriggle the little finger on your feet? This is the physical body, and we're getting used to the physical body. When we are scanning, when we are healing, we are becoming aware of our energy body. We did sessions on the astral body and the thought forms. Now we're becoming aware of the mental body. And one of the key takeaways from last week's session was that if you think of something, the mental matter reorganizes itself around you. So we're talking about talismans and protection. So we say, I am protected by a shield. You're automatically creating a shield around you. So similarly, if you say right now, form an intention, I have super concentration. I am super aware. I am super awake. I am absorbing this information like a sponge. I am retaining this information. I am developing. So if you form an intention, I am absorbing this information, and you put an element of willpower to it, there's no reason why it won't come to you. Right? So I hope you're feeling good. Let's officially begin. Now, this part we covered last time, but I'm just reiterating it for the benefit of the flow of the session. Every part of the physical body has a corresponding astral and mental counterpart. If you have a clean physical body, you will naturally have a clean astral and mental counterpart. So if there's someone who's boozing a lot, who's drinking a lot, who's smoking and doing drugs and whatnot, they're going to have a gross physical body. And that is going to translate into having a gross astral and mental body. So purification is super duper important. Correspondingly, if a person has a lot of negative thoughts, negative emotions, is very prone to anger, that will translate onto the physical body itself. So an angry person has a certain look and feel. Their always brows are furrowed, their cheeks and lips are always turned down, and they've got this very closed kind of body language. Okay, would an angry person look like this? No, wouldn't. Okay, they wouldn't, like, I am so angry with you. That's never gonna happen. And I understand it's going to be a little funny for people who are seeing the recordings, but today we have a lot of people with their webcams on, and it's very good to really physically interact with all these people across the distance. So that's the reason why we're having a little more of an interactive session today. So anyhow, when the mental bodies and astral bodies are clean, the physical bodies will show the effect. Now, one of the reasons why a person who abuses drugs or alcohol or food, or even if they have a lot of very heavy meat eaters, okay, even if they do that, when they are trying to activate their higher components, their astral, mental, and higher bodies, they will fall sick. They'll have a tendency to fall sick. Why? Because the very refined energy which is coming down from those higher planes and subplanes will not mesh very well with the physical ones. And so they'll end up feeling sick. That is bound to happen. So a body fed on flesh and alcohol is liable to be thrown out of health by the opening up of the higher consciousness. So it's better to become partially vegetarian if you are seriously interested in taking your spiritual practices forward. Okay, moderation. And then we spoke about talismans and amulets, in which the knowledge and the presence of a talisman, just knowing that you have something out there to protect you, something out there to help you, will automatically offer a layer of protection to you. So a talisman which is very strongly charged up will be super helpful. Whereas a talisman that is, if you don't believe in it, or someone has given you something but you still don't really resonate with it, it's not going to be quite as effective. So the strength of the thought gets magnified, of the object. Okay. Now, we are now going to go into some more interesting facts. Up to the time of the first initiation, a man works at night. Now, when I say a man, it just is the language of the book. It means a person, okay? It doesn't mean that the ladies don't work, only the men do. No such thing. So up to the time of the first initiation, a person works at night in their astral body. But as it's perfectly under control and they are able to use it fully, they start to work in the mental body. So they first work very clearly, very properly in the astral body. And once they've achieved that, that's when they start activating the mental body. And once the mental body has also been completely organized, it becomes super flexible, much more powerful. And many of the activities which could not be accomplished on the astral plane become easier, like that. And the power to function freely in the mental world must be acquired by the candidate. And they need that for the second initiation, because the second initiation takes place on the lower mental plane. Now, what is the first initiation, second initiation? These are different levels in theosophy. The levels of theosophy are very different from the levels of pranic healing or Arhatic yoga. The two are not to be confused. Now, just as, what does this mean, the first initiation, second initiation? What are the powers and abilities that are different? So just as, if you see something on the astral plane, it is very different from how you see it on the physical plane. For example, in the physical plane, if I look at an object, say I look at this phone, I'm seeing the front side, the back, and the other sides. But if I were to see this on the astral plane, I will see the back and the front and the other sides simultaneously. In the astral plane, if I hold up a book, if I look at a book, I can see all the pages of the book very, very clearly at the same time. So you might have met certain people, certain children or youngsters who they touch a book and they're able to tell you this is this on the page number, or such and such items are written on such and such page. It is because certain astral faculties have been activated. Is it safe to do so? Is it right to do so? Beyond the scope of this conversation. But point is, it is possible. So likewise, as astral vision is more developed than physical vision, similarly, mental vision is much, much more developed than astral vision. But they need to have something to communicate. So you can't really say that you have sight or sound or taste or touch as the items in the astral mental plane, but rather you've got one general sense which responds so fully, so perfectly to the vibrations around it. So anytime anything comes around in the aura of that sense, it comprehends it, it sees it, it feels it, it knows everything about it, its cause, its effect, its possibilities, everything just by one instantaneous operation. There's never any doubt, hesitation, or delay about this direct action of this higher sense. So think of something like this. You're in the mental plane and someone comes to you, and just by being in the same space with that person, you know the person's past, present, their thought process, their family, their history, their likes, their dislikes, everything. That's a pretty amazing superpower to have, right? We have people making movies and making millions of dollars just on movies like this. You're using 100% of your brain's capabilities. Well, I don't know about the physical brain, but definitely as you work and develop the mental body, these abilities become powerful, become apparent. Now, if you are on the mental plane, and if you think of a place, to go to, you can reach that place directly. If you think of a friend, that friend appears right before you. There will be no misunderstandings, there will be no miscommunication, there can be no deception or lies or falsehood, because everything is right out there for you to see. Every thought, every feeling lies open before you. So if you have a person who says, do I look good wearing this? Or do I look bad wearing that? There is no deception. You can't even make white lies because the entire truth flashes out right there in front. So one of the techniques here, in order to be able to develop a mental body which can see all the truth, you must have accurate perception and correct expression. Those who've done Arhatic yoga, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But even if you've done basic pranic healing, it's there in the book, in the last one of the last chapters, where Master Choa talks about the different virtues. And as he talks about the different virtues, we understand that when you have honesty and non-lying, you get the good karma of everything being very honestly revealed to you. So, with that said, of honesty, of having things revealed, as we are aware of our mental bodies, as we are now aware that the moment you think of something, the moment you think of a place, the moment you think of a person, you are instantly transported to the presence of that place and that person. Would you like to try an experiment to see how this works, how this feels? It doesn't matter if you say no, because I'm going to make you do it anyway. Okay? Right. So let's sit again in a relaxed posture. Close your eyes, tongue to palate. Inhale. Inhale slowly. Inhale deeply. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. To my spiritual teacher, Master Chua Kok Sui, I humbly invoke for your blessings. Now be aware, be still, that you are operating out of your mental body. I am the soul, I am that I am. So as you think of the teacher, if your energy is refined, you are transported to the presence of the teacher, to the Supreme God, to my spiritual teacher, Master Chua Kok Sui, to Lord Mahaguruji Miling, and to all the spiritual teachers. I humbly invoke for your blessings of love, light, and power. Thank you for blessing me with intelligent evaluation, with clarity of mind, with gentleness of behavior. Thank you for blessing me with inner healing, physical healing, psychological healing, with inner beauty, with grace, with courage, with strength. Thank you, my beloved teacher, for your blessings. Receive the blessings coming forth from the teacher. If you can visualize the teacher, imagine that you're looking at the teacher. Look into the eyes of the teacher. Look into the eyes of the teacher and say, Atma Namaste. Thank you for your blessings. I am grateful for your presence in my life. I am very happy. I am touched. I am blessed to be your student. Please bless me. Please help me. Guide me. Protect me. Guide my thoughts, my words, and my actions, that I may become a clean and clear instrument, that I may become a better person and a better soul. Thank you. Thank you. And now, send love to the teacher. Feel all the love that you have in your heart and just project this love to the teacher. Bless the teacher with love, with knowledge, with wisdom, with happiness, with a happy family life, with tremendous financial abundance, with lots of prosperity. Bless the teacher with progress and spirituality. Bless, bless, bless. Bless the teacher with love, light, and power, with healing, with guidance, with protection, with abundance, with prosperity, with spirituality. Bless, bless, bless the teacher with all that and more. And so be it. Now receive the blessings and say Atma Namaste. I am super grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Take a deep breath. Exhale and return to your body. Take a deep breath once more. Exhale, return to your body. Move your fingers. Move your toes. Inhale. Open your eyes with a smile. How are you feeling? How's the experience of using your mental body to go on to the mental plane and to mentally interact with the teacher? Now I can see from the webcam, whoever have their screens on, most of you have your faces have become very soft, a little flushed, and perhaps to a certain extent, some of you even have tears in your eyes. The reason why we share this is that we can convert it into a more practical way. So the next time you have an invocation, you can feel the invocation. It can be full of depth instead of being something superficial. You don't say, Atma Namaste, done. No, you can feel it. Go into it and feel the blessings of the teacher. Feels good? Feels good? Fantastic. So when your mental body is organized like this, things can be greatly accomplished. If you thought 6 months ago that you could have an interaction with the teacher, with Master Chua, like that, you would have said, okay, it's fanciful. But now you know how to do it. Why? Because you have control over the mental body. So similarly, the teaching says, the book says, if the person is along with a friend whose higher sense is also opened, who are also mentally aware, then their discussions are perfect beyond any earthly conceptions. For them, distance and separation do not exist. Their feelings are no longer hidden or half expressed. There is no clumsiness, there's no discomfort. Questions and answers are unnecessary because the thought pictures are read as soon as they're formed, and the exchange of ideas is as rapid as it flashes into existence in their mind. So if you have a question, it is answered. You don't need to formulate the words for it. You don't need to go into cumbersome detail. It just happens. Now, before I go on to the next part, let me talk to you about some of the benefits which you can experience as your mental body develops. So, if you heard of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he talks about the eightfold, the Ashtang Yoga. Along with Ashtang Yoga, which are the 8 limbs of yoga, there are Ashta Siddhis. Siddhis are accomplishments or blessings, you can call them. Ashta means 8. So the 8 blessings or the 8 abilities. And the list over here: Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitva, and Vashitva. I'm sorry if I don't get the pronunciation right. These are Sanskrit terms, of course. And in short, their description is on the screen for you to see. I will come back to this slide in some time, but let me first show you an example of the mechanism of it. So one item of information, it's very useful, is the type of person, the chakra at the top of the head. Now in this book, they call it chakram. I've kept the word as it is, but for practical purposes, it just means chakra. So the chakra at the top of the head is bent or slanted until its vortex coincides with the atrophied organ known as the pineal gland. The pineal gland used to be a completely developed organ. In modern persons, it has atrophied for whatever reason. So it's made into a line of communication directly with the lower mental, and it doesn't have to pass through the astral in the middle. It just gets directly connected. So the crown chakra, the root of the crown chakra, is connected to the pineal gland. So it's for this type of experiment and purpose that Madame Blavatsky was one of the founders of the Theosophical movement, and she was great in her clairvoyant abilities and observations. She wrote a great deal of information, and she laid a lot of emphasis upon the awakening of the pineal gland. Now, one ability which takes place is the faculty of magnification. According to the Hindus, this is called anima. It belongs to the chakra between the eyebrows. So the chakra over here between the eyebrows, you know what that one is called? So from the central portion of that chakra is projected a tiny microscope, a really, really small microscope. And the lens of that microscope is the size of one atom. Imagine that you have ability to see something at an atomic level. This atom can be employed either physically or astrally or mentally, but whatever it is, it needs special preparation. All the wings or the spiralae of this atom, of this microscope, must be brought into full working order, and it will be brought into full working order onto the higher states of evolution. What are the higher states of evolution? Please refer to the solar system. Okay, the discussions and topics we had on the solar system. This power, the power to really go into depth and detail, it belongs to the causal body. So if an atom of a lower level can be used as an eyepiece, then you'll be able to see things in that particular area. You'll be able to zoom in or zoom out to any degree of observation. So further extension of this power allows us to focus our consciousness and then project it to distant points. The same power, by a different kind of arrangement, can be viewed by other people for magnification. So just as the atom can be in a small space for zooming in, you can reverse it and zoom out. So this is kind of the mechanism behind it. Okay, let me now go back to the previous slide where you can see what these various abilities are. Anima, you can think of it now as not the ability to reduce the size of the body, but to bring your awareness to the small atomic levels. So it doesn't mean that anima means that your body becomes really small. It means your concentration becomes subatomic. Mahima doesn't mean that your body becomes like a giant. It means that you become aware of the cosmos. Your awareness super expands. Garima, an ability to become very heavy in weight by will. Now, why you'd want to gain weight just by willing it, I do not know. I can understand the next power though, Laghima, which is the ability to make the body very light. This is a superpower I guess many of us would love to have, to become super light. Okay. Now, Heaviness and lightness, it basically means in terms of consciousness. So you need your consciousness to go up to the higher planes, it goes up. You make your consciousness heavy and it comes down to the physical world, it goes down. So just as we experimented, not even maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago, where we did this invocation and we asked for the blessings of the teacher, our awareness from the physical body, went all the way up to a more refined state. Yes or no? It did, right? So we used the yogic ability of Laghima. We made our awareness really, really light and we sent our consciousness up. And then when we finished our work there, we made our consciousness heavy and brought it back down to the gross physical. So we use the ability of Garima. So yes, certain football players or certain wrestlers, they probably love the ability of Garima and Laghima, but let me really re-emphasize, this is not a physical power. It's entirely to do with the mental. Likewise, the next word, prapti, the ability for prapti means to obtain, to receive. Thus, it's the ability to acquire anything anywhere. In certain schools, you might say it's the ability to materialize things just by thinking about it. You think about an apple, you've got an apple. You think about a banana, you've got a banana. Okay? You think about tens of thousands of dollars, you receive some amount of money. It's easier, in my experience, to receive fruits and vegetables than tens of thousands of dollars. For that, you need to purify yourself a lot more. Okay? In fact, a fun story. Several months ago, we were having these studies on a different group. I was conducting some studies on Paramhansa Yogananda, Autobiography of a Yogi. You've heard of this book? Autobiography of a Yogi. So there was this particular chapter on manifestation, how you can think of something and materializes. And we did an experiment on bananas. So you just think of bananas and bananas will come. And we have this WhatsApp group. And on WhatsApp for the next 7 days, we just received information about, hey, I got some bananas. Okay, I got bananas. Like it was so many bananas going on, you'd think there were millions. Anyhow, it was a fun experiment. One day we shall do the experiment, as Sarjit has said, someday we shall do the experiment on thousands of dollars and we'll be able to do lots and lots of tithing. Okay, so these special powers notwithstanding, there are other abilities. The ability to obtain anything that you have desired, to have your dreams turned into reality. Then you've got the other one, the power of absolute lordship over entire creation. And the last one, the ability to have everything under control, especially physical manifestation made of 5 elements. These are mental powers. They're not to do with anything physical. Okay, just giving you an idea of what the things are. The book doesn't go into too much detail on how to acquire all of these, just that some of the mechanisms are mentioned over here. There is no spatial limit to mental clairvoyance beyond that of the mental plane itself. So as long as you're on the mental plane, your clairvoyance, your abilities will extend all over the mental plane itself. However, it is still possible by mental clairvoyance to obtain a good amount of information about other planets. Okay, like that's how the solar system and the various other planets in the solar system, they were discovered and written into the books. Now, by passing outside of the constant disturbances of the Earth's atmosphere, it is possible to make the clairvoyance, the sight, much, much clearer. And it's not difficult to learn how to put on a very high amount of magnifying power through which you can get a lot of astronomical information. Like today, when we did that experiment, we were focusing on the teacher. We could do an experiment and focus on a planet, on the beings of the planet, on the atmosphere of the planet, on the resources of the planet. And our mind will start to get information from all those sources. Now, we just need to keep writing it down and validate across various people, and of course, with actual experimentation, whether that information is correct or not. So just as you can focus on the teacher, you can focus on any object as long as you train your mind, as your mind is clear. So prana, or vitality, these exist on the mental plane. It exists on all of the planes that we operate out of. And the same thing is true for Kundalini as well. We have heard this term, right? Kundalini, or the serpent fire. This is with regards to Fohat. Now, okay, so there are 3 kinds of powers, all right? Let's talk a little bit about it. You've got the first power, which is electricity. Okay, Fohat comes from the sun, Fohat. Then you've got the second power, which basically creates and ensures all of creation and life is going on. That's called prana. And then finally, you've got the final energizing power, which is Kundalini. So Fohat, prana, Kundalini. Now, prana and Kundalini, not much appears to be known about them at the various planes. What we do know, however, is that whenever Kundalini is present, it makes all the various bodies, all the vehicles really, really, really vivid. It really increases the abilities and powers of all the various bodies. So Kundalini energy present in the physical body will make the physical body stronger, lighter, younger, more flexible, all of that. On the energy body, same. On the emotional body, they'll have greater control over their emotions. They'll have peace and calmness all the time. In the mental body, their mind will be super clear. They can understand and conceptualize all sorts of difficult topics. So again, because you are present and we are going through all these discussions and we're understanding these complex topics, it does mean, it directly implies that there is a certain degree of Kundalini awakening that is already present in all of us. Interesting, right? Now, the primary force or Fohat mentioned above is one of the expressions of the second outpouring from the second aspect of the logos. For more solar system, and more of this information is actually there in Initiation Human and Solar. So you've got something called the solar ring pass knot and the galactic ring pass knot and all of those things. Very complicated, not getting into it right now. We'll just get distracted. In any case, we are coming to the close of the mental body, so no point in getting into too much details of it. However, let me do mention that Kundalini, it belongs to one of the primary outpourings of power. In the center of the earth, Kundalini energy operates in a vast globe, and only the outermost layers of Kundalini can be approached. And these outermost layers of Kundalini on the earth, they have a sympathetic relationship, they have a correspondence with the layers of Kundalini in the human body. Now your attention will be drawn to the colors of prana of the various chakras and the colors given in the secret doctrine and the principles represented. So let's try to go into this in some additional detail. So let's start with the first one. The color of prana from the throat chakra is light blue. In the book, The Secret Doctrine, the color given is blue. We're not very concerned with the colors given in the Secret Doctrine, but we shall talk about the principle represented, which means when there's a lot of light blue energy, we know that there's a great deal of presence of the soul. There's a great deal of presence of the soul. So when you have light blue energy and the throat is activated, you will have an auric envelope around you. So soul energy coming in. Then you've got yellow colored prana, and the chakra where that yellow colored prana goes into is the heart. And that awakens the buddhi or the intelligence aspect. Now you might be wondering that, okay, the heart is connected to love. So how come we've got yellow, which is connected to the heart? Because we know yellow is a mental color, right? We discussed this some time ago. So a person with a mental body, developmental body, there's a lot of yellow in their aura. So how come the intelligence aspect, which is again yellow in color, why does that energy come into the heart? It's something like this. When the heart is open, when the heart is active, the crown correspondingly becomes active, right? We know this from basic. Heart is active, crown becomes active. So when the crown becomes active, what happens? A lot of divine energy comes in. As a lot of divine energy comes in, all the other chakras, forehead, ajna, everything else around it, they also start getting activated. And as they start getting activated, they are able to process information, send information, give information in a much faster way. And they are also connected to various bodies, physical, astral, and so on. So they start correspondingly bringing in a lot of information and data into the astral, mental, and higher bodies. So the secret is in the heart. Now, Master Choa, he mentions this many, many times. The secret is in the heart. We just don't realize how many secrets there are in the heart. So long story short, if you keep your heart active, if you keep your heart really, really active, and you keep working on the heart, you will get yourself partially clairvoyant. You will get yourself partially soul realized. You will become partially God realized. You will develop all these kind of beautiful abilities. So basically do Twin Hearts every day, okay? So this part is clear, that when the energy comes in and the heart gets activated and stimulated, you basically develop your mental body as well. Now the next color which it talks about, and we never really go into much detail on this color because there's very little information about it, it's the brow chakra. So when it's a brow chakra, it's not the chakra between the eyebrows, but rather the one on the forehead. And that color over there is blue, darker blue. So light blue, indigo. Think of it as indigo color. And that connects to the higher manas. When we say higher manas, we're basically talking about the causal body. Mental body, lower manas, higher manas, causal body. So it's connected to the causal body. And we don't, the causal body is the body of causes, the body of karma. That kind of energy, that kind of prana does not really have much of an impact on the physical world and physical reality. So you'll never really get to see indigo prana in our day-to-day work. Okay, is that part clear? Next one, green prana. That corresponds to the navel. It is connected to the lower mind, the kama manas, the desire body. Okay, how is it connected to the lower mind? Well, because your lower mind has to go through a lot of thoughts, has to clean the thoughts, has to process them, has to organize them, and clear away a lot of the garbage. So it needs many cleansing parts, hence green. Then you've got spleen, the spleen, and over there you've got this rose-colored or the red-colored prana. The spleen, as we know, it's over here, the spleen chakra, it vitalizes the physical body. It sends and digests prana all through the entire body. So the spleen chakra, it creates a connection. It retains the connection between the emotions, between the functioning of the mind, and the general functioning of the physical. So that's how the prana goes in. And now, finally, you've got violet red kind of prana. So you've got violet on one side and red on the other side. So you've got violet red prana, and that is connected to the basic, the root chakra. So therefore, how are we now correlating these various colors of prana, these various chakras, and what is the correspondence of this? What is the connection of all of this with the mental body, with Kundalini? Well, you see, the Kundalini in the human body comes from what has been called the laboratory of the Holy Ghost. And the laboratory of the Holy Ghost exists deep, deep, deep into the earth, deep inside the earth. It belongs to the fire of prana and vitality. So prana is air-like. It belongs to air. It belongs to the light and open spaces. And the fire, which is deep within the earth, it is much more material. It's not so light, so fresh as prana. It is like the fire of a red hot iron. So you can imagine a red hot iron and that heat, that kind of fire, that's what the visualization of Kundalini energy, K energy is like. Now, of course, this is all very nice. It's also very powerful. And because of so much power, there is a chance for this to become unsafe or terrible. And there is, of course, a very terrible side to this tremendous force, because it gives the impression of descending deeper and deeper into matter. You're moving slowly, but irresistibly. So if you're really interested in spiritual stuff, you go higher. But Kundalini, this much of Kundalini takes you deeper into matter. Much deeper into matter. Because if you think about it, if you think of any of those cartoons or animations or even movies, old movies, of course, where they talk about awakening the Kundalini and they develop certain powers, you'll notice all the powers they develop tend to be very physical. They tend to be very physically violent or physically aggressive. They're pushing and doing telekinesis. It's sort of destruction. Very few of those representations of Kundalini are to do something spiritual, to become spiritually enlightened or to become super developed. Now, of course, if you have a proper guidance, if you have a proper system, you can take that Kundalini energy and move it up for spiritual development. Otherwise, left by itself, unused, in an unplanned fashion, it's going to become kind of destructive. So it should be noted that Kundalini is a tremendous power, and it works very directly, very, very closely with the primary force, that first outpouring of energy from God. And the two of them, they make sure creation happens. However, if Kundalini is prematurely unfolded, if it's prematurely awakened, it has a lot of unpleasant possibilities. It intensifies everything in a person's nature. It really, really has like a fertilizer kind of effect. It reaches into the lower and evil qualities much faster than the higher and good qualities. In the mental body, for example, if Kundalini is awakened in the context of the mental body, if Kundalini is awakened and it's not purified, it will arouse ambition. And that ambition will become very severe. Like the person is willing to go to any extent to cause, to damage, to hurt other people just to attain their goals and their targets. So you need to have, again, the secret is in the heart. There must be a lot of refinement, a lot of purification. You can't just say development of Kundalini for the sake of development. There has to be a positive side. So it's quite likely Kundalini brings about a lot of mental awareness. You become very mentally advanced and you get a lot of good ideas, but it would also cause a tremendous amount of pride. So One of the side effects of Kundalini awakened prematurely, improperly, pride, arrogance, ambition, all the negative qualities connected to the mental body, of course. We're not talking about other things, just the mental body. So, no uninstructed person, a person without a teacher, should not ever try to arouse Kundalini. And even if they do manage to arouse it by accident, they should immediately consult a person who understands these matters. In fact, in one of the one of the books, I think it was the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it's mentioned over there, Kundalini gives liberation to yogis and bondage to fools. The power of Kundalini gives liberation to yogis and bondage to fools, because the yogi has understood and they let go and they can use the power of Kundalini to rise up. But a person who is uninstructed, uninitiated, doesn't understand, they will only fall deeper and deeper, lower and lower. So if anyone has managed to awaken their Kundalini in an unsafe, unpredictable manner, seek help. How do you seek help? Ask someone who's done Arhatic Yoga, who knows about it. Otherwise, there's going to be, you're in for a very interesting time, as one of my instructors used to say. Any questions on this? We're ready to move on to the next part, okay? Right. Okay, now on this particular page, we'll be talking about concentration and meditation. So in some sessions prior, we discussed what is the difference between concentration, excuse me, what's the difference between concentration and meditation? Anyone? What is the difference between concentration and meditation? So if you ask an ordinary person, what do you understand by meditation? An ordinary person who's never meditated before, they will say, usually, is that you sit inside a dark room, you sit inside and there's a candle, and then you concentrate on the candle, you're looking at the candle, and there's some chanting happening in the background, like some mantra, there's incense sticks, and you're concentrating all the time. So they will always talk about concentration, concentration, concentration. Now, concentration and meditation are two entirely opposite things. Okay, as Sajal has very correctly mentioned, meditation is all about awareness, whereas concentration is about focus. So if you look at this, if you have your awareness, if you imagine a dot, okay, if you imagine a dot and your concentration, your entire awareness is on the dot itself. So if you are aware, if I invite you to be aware of your tongue, be aware of your tongue sitting in your mouth. Now, your tongue is always in your mouth. Is it floating? Is it touching your palate? Is it touching your upper teeth, your lower teeth? Where is it? You've now suddenly just become very, very, very aware of the weight of your tongue in your mouth. Likewise, if I invite you to become aware, to bring your concentration to your back, you are now aware that you're sitting with support or without support. You're aware of the weight on it. You're aware of all the pressure and the forces acting upon it. So concentration is when you take your awareness and you focus it to one point. Meditation is the opposite. It's when your awareness is at one point, but you expand it and you let it fly across wherever you need it to. So you be still and you become aware. So of course, there are many different types of meditation, just as there are many different types of people. So it's obvious that there is not any one particular type of meditation, any one particular type of practice which everyone should follow. So there are very, very different purposes and different ways and objectives of meditation. But some of the most important ones, in fact, 7 of the important ones, have been highlighted over here. So the first one is, meditation ensures that at least once a day, you think of good things, about holy things. Your thoughts are taken away from your daily troubles, from all the problems of daily life. So your awareness becomes expanded to higher things, to good things. That's one objective. Second objectives, it accustoms us to think of such things that after a time you form a habit when your mind automatically releases itself from the day-to-day troubles and just goes into a state of spirituality. So I don't know about you, but for me, every time I do the meditation on Twin Hearts, or even if I just listen to that opening sounds of the meditation, da, 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 that one, automatically the smile starts to form on my face. I'm like, okay, we can go into that kind of meditative state. So meditation accustoms you to more meditation. So for all those who will be watching this video at a later time, if again you heard that music, da, 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 chances are you would be developing a little bit of a smile, a little bit of happiness on your face because you start to feel the effects of meditation on your system. It makes you feel good. So meditation, first, it takes your mind to higher things, and two, it gives you an ability to go back to those higher things pretty fast, pretty well. Third, it serves as a kind of astral and mental gymnastics in order to keep the higher bodies in health and to keep the stream of divine life flowing through them. So, for these purposes, it must be remembered that the regularity of the exercises is of first importance. So, you've got physical exercises. Before you do meditation, you must do physical exercises. That's what this says. But by doing meditation, you're also exercising your astral and your mental bodies. When you do meditation, your awareness flows up, down, around physical, etheric, astral, mental. So all these bodies are getting exercised. Number four, by doing meditation, you can do character building to develop the virtues. Five, it raises your consciousness to higher levels so as to include the higher and subtler things. It even may enable a person to rise to the state of the divine. So just by doing meditation, as you take your awareness away from your day-to-day troubles, and then it takes you to a happy place, and then it helps you develop your astral and mental, and then it takes you to the development of your character, and then from there, it gives you an access to the divine. Now, mind you, all of these gradually happen. These are steps which gradually happen. It doesn't just mean that the moment you do the first meditation, you become, I am a soul, I'm super realized. In fact, some of us, we have this running joke that you have these people, these young people who will attend the Arhatic Yoga Prep workshop, and they come back and say, I have done Arhatic Yoga Prep. I am now an Arhat. And we're like, no, an Arhat takes a few lifetimes to become. So it takes time. Chill, relax. So by doing constant meditation, by doing more and more meditation, you raise your consciousness to the higher levels. And then from there, number 6, it opens up the higher realms of nature and calls down blessings from the higher planes. So you don't just get an access to the blessings start coming to you. And then once the blessings start coming to you, that's when step 7 happens. You gradually, slowly move on to higher development and wider knowledge. You become clairvoyant, you become clairsentient, you become claircognizant, all those other clair abilities, and eventually to the higher life, to the real life, beyond this physical life completely. So to reiterate, meditation has many steps. The first one, at least once a day, it takes your mind away from your daily problems. 2, it takes you back to the happy place rapidly. 3, it serves as a mean of mental, emotional exercise to keep all your bodies working properly. 4, it helps to develop your character, to develop your virtues. 5, it takes your consciousness higher so that you get an access to the divine. 6, it brings the divine energies to you. It brings the blessings to you. And with all of that happening, you then get a glimpse. You then move slowly, gradually into the higher, more developed life. So you become more aware. That is the benefit of meditation. And now that you are more aware of it, using your mental body how to do this, your meditations should subsequently become deeper. So you can use this knowledge, this information to kind of assess where you are in your spiritual journey. How often do you do your meditation? And when you do meditation, where do your thoughts go? Are you meditating because you've been asked to meditate? Are you meditating because you enjoy meditating? Are you meditating because it makes you a better person, a better being? Are you meditating because you've managed to get a glimpse of the higher abilities? Are you meditating because this physical world is okay, whatever it is, you want to connect to the real you. You want to connect to the higher soul. So depending on why you meditate and how you meditate, you get a very interesting idea, sort of like a report card of where you are in your spiritual development at this point in time. Okay? Right. Now, when you're practicing meditation, you will get an awareness of the various states of mind. Okay, now before I go more into the details over here, has it happened, do you remember that when you used to meditate, or maybe it even happens right now, that when you're sitting down to meditate, your mind goes back to some other thought? Maybe there's a doorbell ringing, maybe there's a phone ringing. Your mind doesn't go up to where it's supposed to be, it just gets distracted. You remember what someone said before. You remember some past memory, some past hurt. Maybe you've got something coming up and your mind is very focused on that. Has this happened to you? That you are unable to focus, you're unable to remain centered in your meditation. Now, this kind of distraction, all of this, these are steps, these are pathways to progress. So, as a person is progressing, as they're meditating, you become aware of the different states of your mind. So, the first state of the mind is something called shipta or hipta. This is the butterfly mind, or as some schools call it, the monkey mind. It's a state of mind which darts constantly from one object to the other. It corresponds to a lot of activity. It can't stay still at one place. The mind is constantly moving. Number two, mind is mudha. It's a confused stage in which the person is swayed and bewildered and confused by emotions. So in the Shipta stage, it corresponds to a lot of activity on the physical world. In the Mudha stage, it corresponds to activity on the emotional world. So any kind of emotional swaying is when the mind is in the Mudha state. Third is in the Vikshipta or Vikipta stage. This is a stage when the mind is really preoccupied by an idea. It's obsessed by an idea. This corresponds to activity in the lower mental world. So these states of the mind, Shipta, Mudha, Vikshipta, these are states of mind where there's a lot of activity happening. But meditation is about the cessation of activity. There should not be so much activity. So from there, instead of being possessed by the activity, instead of being consumed by the activity, the mind then evolves into ekagrata. It evolves into something called ekagrata. This is a state where instead of being possessed by the idea, you possess the idea. This corresponds to activity on the higher mental plane. The person over here needs to learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. It is to do with the activity aspect. So I have an idea, the idea doesn't have me. I have an idea, okay, I'll come back to the idea. It's not that the idea is constantly ringing at the door, hey, listen to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. It's more like, I will talk to you when I have the time. Now is not the time. So if you are meditating and you've got this thought, these thoughts, these streams of thoughts, which are bombarding your consciousness all the time, you know that you're in the Shipta, Mudha, or Vikshipta stage, either of the three. So then what do you do? You just tell these thoughts, wait, I am meditating now. Now is not the time to do with all these thoughts. I will deal with you later. You look at those thoughts and you say, later, not now. And you return to your meditation. Some thoughts will come again, not as many as before, but some. And you repeat, not now, later. One or two will come back, not now, later. So you go from this Shipta in our daily language, the word Shipta and Vikshipta, we use it to mean someone who's mad, who's like frantic. You know the word frantic, gone crazy, utterly? That's what Shipta, Vikshipta means in our day-to-day usage. So when you say someone's gone frantic, gone crazy, that's what it's like constantly. Stop, relax, breathe, chill. Not now. So that takes a person into ekagrata, which is one-pointedness. And that one-pointedness brings a sense of detachment, which is called vairagya. Now, this is already a pretty high level to be at. You have some people, you have seen some people, they never get frustrated or frazzled by anything. You come to them with a problem, with an issue. Okay, we'll handle it. What seems to be the problem? Okay, you've made a mistake. No big deal. No big deal. I have this colleague. She is super calm. Like she takes on a lot of work, but she is super, super calm, never gets frazzled, never loses her temper. And if I have an issue like, hey, I need this sorted out, this hasn't happened, that hasn't happened. Okay, we'll see. Now, just hearing her response saying, okay, we'll see, has an immediate calming effect. Have you noticed maybe there's some people, especially in prana world, that you go and talk to her, you talk to them, and automatically you start to feel a sense of calmness over you? These people are really developed. They have this sense of detachment, and yet there's a sense of control. And from there, we come to the next stage, which is self-control, which means niruddha. This is the state in which you rise above all ideas. The person is now connected to their divine will, the will of the higher soul, not the will of the lower nature. And this corresponds to activity on the Buddhic plane. The person over here learns about the will aspect of consciousness. So consciousness has three aspects: intelligence, compassion, and willpower. Intelligence, compassion, and willpower. At this stage, in the Niruddha stage, they learn something called Shat Sampatti. which means to do with the will aspect of consciousness. Now, if I break the word Shat Sampatti, Shatsampatti, I'm not very sure, but Shat in my language would mean true, and Sampatti means possession. So the true possession is the possession or the possession of the understanding that I am the soul. So a person with this Niruddha stage of self-control, this is a person, when they say, I am that I am the soul, they're not saying the words. They have experienced the words. They know exactly what that means because they live in that state of consciousness all the time. How is this made possible? Through meditation, through controlling of the mind and the mental body. When complete control has been acquired, then this person can inhibit all the motions of the mind. They can stop all mental activity. And that is when they're ready for samadhi. Samadhi, which corresponds to true contemplation, true understanding. So this is beyond just concentration. It's beyond focus. It's beyond awareness. It is about understanding, true understanding. So the four states of consciousness, which has been summarized here from the book, in Sanskrit, you've got these four called Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. Let's just very quickly, you can understand I'll illustrate by examples. So someone who's awakened, who not awakened, someone who's awake, like you and me, hopefully. Okay, all of us, we are awakened. We are reading a book or we're looking at a watch. We're doing these things consciously. Then you've got someone, hopefully not anyone watching this video or in this class, who are in a dream state. They're fast asleep and in a state of swapna. So in that dream state, they're aware that there's some words and certain things happening. Okay, you ask them, we can imagine a watch. It's like, there's someone fast asleep and you say that person's name. Like you're talking with a friend and say, hey, I think she's asleep, or I think he's asleep. The person will suddenly wake up, hey, I'm not asleep, I'm awake. This has happened. So they have a basic state of consciousness and awareness which is there, but it's not all that detailed. So they can perceive the meaning, but they're not aware of it. And they're in a dream state. Even lower is deep sleep. Deep sleep, like completely still sleep. You can shake them and move them, they won't wake up. This is what is called in Sanskrit as sushupti. Okay, and it means that you have touched the mind of the writer. It means you've conceived the ideal watch. It doesn't mean that you're just looking at any clock or any watch, or that you're imagining it. You're understanding the concept of what a watch is. You're understanding the concept of a book. It's conceptual. And even from there, deeper, far deeper. Now, sushupti, deep sleep, it's difficult enough to understand, difficult enough to explain. And even deeper than that is something called the trance state or turiya. Now, this is when you've entered the mind of the writer. You've gone beyond the idea of a clock and you're aware of the fabric of time itself. So it's one thing that you're reading a book, then you're like, okay, I understand the words of the book. Then it's like, oh, so this is what the idea of the writer. And the next thing is, you know the writer personally. You entered the mind of the writer. It's a little abstract, the four states of consciousness. We are somewhere in the Jagrat and Swapna state, between the waking and the dreaming states. So for us to go into the trance state, well, we're going to have to do a lot of meditation to get there. Now, contemplation, we already spoke about meditation, we spoke about concentration. Now we're coming to contemplation, is the third of the three stages. We've already considered concentration, in which your attention is focused or riveted upon an object. Meditation is when your consciousness, your awareness is stirred into activity with reference to that object alone. So you look at that object in every possible light to penetrate its meanings, to understand deeper layers. Concentration is when you have actively centered your consciousness on the object. While the lower activities of the consciousness are repressed, your attention has been fixed on the light received, on the concentration, on the information, which is at the top of the line of thought. So it is a much higher state of meditation. So if I ask you to concentrate on the fact that you're sitting on a seat, your awareness will suddenly go there too, where you're sitting. If I ask you to be aware of your tongue, you're aware of the tongue in the mouth. If I then say meditate, you then start thinking, okay, if I connect the tongue to the palate, then the energy circuitry is closed. And if I close the circuitry, more energy comes in. The tongue has all these functions and abilities. It can talk, it can taste, all of that. And then contemplation is like, why is the tongue? Why does it have to form that kind of a connection? How does it help other people? These are very abstract ideas. So if you're trying to understand a very basic meaning of it, it'll not be theoretically possible or practically possible, because these are again to do with the development of the higher states of the mind. Now, in the Hindu terminology, all of these states of the mind are given different names. You got pratyahar, where you have control of the senses. Okay, what are the five senses we have? Sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Right? We have five senses. Pratyahar is when you say, okay, I am not the body. I am not the body. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. I am not any of these. Therefore, if I am none of these things, that means the input which comes in from the body, the input of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, all of these inputs are false inputs, because if I'm not the body, then I'm not the inputs either. So you move away, you release the control of all the senses. So you stop depending upon what you see, what you hear, what you feel. From there, your mind, it starts concentrating. Okay, so if I am not the body, if I am not the emotions, if I am not the mind, then what am I? If I'm not the body, not the emotions, not the thoughts, not the mind, what am I? That's concentration. And then it says, I am the soul. I am a spiritual being. Because if I am not this, then I am that. I am not this. I am that. So I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. So there must be a higher power which has light, love, and power. So I am not this, I am that. So the I am which is there, I am that I am. I am not this, I am that. I am that I am. And so the awareness moves up and becomes meditation. And then you start thinking, okay, if I am that I am, then I am a child of God. That means I am connected to God. I am one with the divine spark. I am one with all. And that takes you to a state of contemplation that you think, okay, there is oneness everywhere. So if I am, ADB, I am one with my higher soul, and all the people in this group, Sundar, Sajal, Malar, everyone else, all these other people in the group, if they are also connected to the I am of their higher soul, and if that higher soul is also connected to God, that means I am connected to every one of them individually as well. So spiritually, there's only oneness. Do you see what a deep and profound realization this is? All by simply training the mind, all simply by making the mind go into releasing the senses, concentrating, meditating, contemplating, and then becoming aware. So dharana, which is concentration, dhyana or meditation, and samadhi, contemplation, all of this collectively are known as sanyama. Okay? In meditation, we discover what things are. We go on with this process of resonating and arguing until we cannot reason and argue anymore. And then we go on to the infinite. We go on to understanding the abstract. So please understand, it's very simple. All of this is becoming really concentrated, difficult. So let's simplify it. Remember, meditation takes a lifetime, and you should not expect to attain a state of pure meditation in this lifetime. So keep working on this lifetime and hopefully you'll get it. Of course, if you're already on the spiritual path and you're doing Aratic yoga and all the techniques, your progress is likely to be much, much, much faster than other people's. Possibly. Contemplation is basically where you keep your consciousness on one thing and you draw yourself into it so that you become what you're thinking about. Very abstract concept, no point in going into it any much details. And right, all that said and done, we are now coming towards the official end of the book. With just talking about Maya Virupa, the book is over. So what is Maya Virupa? Maya Virupa means literally the body of illusion. It is a temporary astral body created by someone who is already able to function in the mental body. This Maya Virupa, it may or may not resemble the physical body. It is created for the purpose of what it's needed. So it can be created at will. It can be physical. It can be visible. It can be invisible. It can be indistinguishable as a physical body. So it can feel visible. It can carry on a conversation like a physical human being. But the moment the work is done, the Maya Virupa vanishes. So you've got these higher beings. You have these stories and all these other, especially in autobiography of a yogi, we've got these stories of these higher beings who come down. They have an interaction with the disciple, with the yogi, and after they've had their discussion, the yogi turns around and poof, vanished, not there at all. Like Batman. Batman is not a Maya Virupa, or maybe he is. Who knows? So the Maya Virupa is created at will and vanishes at will also. The word Mayavi means illusion. Rupa means form. So it is a form of illusion. It is completely an illusion. So those who are tricked, they can be tricked by it, by the Mayavi Rupa. So it's an illusion. Now, with the power to form the Mayavi Rupa, with the ability to form this illusory form, a person is able to pass instantly from the mental plane to the astral plane and then go back and forth. They can use all times the greater power and abilities of the mental plane and come down to the astral plane for whatever work is necessary. When they finish their work on the astral plane, they go back to the mental plane and the Mayavi Rupa disintegrates. It vanishes and the matter returns to the matter that is there of the astral. So it's a really amazing ability to have. You are functioning, so you're here physically, you're the soul, you're functioning in your mental body. You need to come to earth, you need to come back over here and have a conversation with somebody. You create a body for yourself. You create a physical body with weight, with temperature, with touch. It's like as if the person talking to you feels like you're physically there. But when your work is done, the body's gone. It's an amazing ability, right? All of this comes with more development of the mental body. As your mental body grows and develops, and you develop more and more powers and control over it, you can get all access to all of these things. With that said, we have come to the official end of the mental body book. However, we have a bonus topic called Devachan. And we can't go into so much detail about it, but we still have maybe about 15 or 20 minutes left for today's session. So would you be interested in going into the bonus topic, or have you had enough? Okay, no one's responding anything. Okay, is that a yes for we've had enough and stop, or is that a yes for let's go on? Which one? Bonus. Okay, we're talking about the bonus. Yes, let's go on. Okay, now before we go on to the mental body and stuff, because it's already become so heavy, let's just stretch a little bit. Okay, stretch yourself a little bit. This is also for the benefit of everyone who is going to come in for the sessions later on. Let's stretch. Okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just be aware of your body. Be aware that you're not the body. You're just using the body, floating about. Okay, I'm back. Be still, be aware. We are going to be talking about the Devachanic plane. What is the Devachanic plane? So open your eyes with a big smile, ready for bombardment of more information. Okay, so now, the first thing we talk about, the body is dead. Dead. The physical body is dead. The astral body is there. You've already had a discussion on the astral body. We now take up the Devachanic plane, starts from where a person's death has happened on the physical, on the astral, on the mental, and they're moving up to the heaven world. So basically, this is a journey beyond the mental onto the heaven world. So the Theosophists, they call this Devachan, which basically means the shining land. In Sanskrit, it's called Devasthan, or the land of the god. Deva meaning god, Sthan or Sthan meaning place, or the land of the gods. The Hindus call it Swarga. The Buddhists call it Sukhavati. The Zoroastrians call it heavens. It's the heaven of the Zoroastrians and the Christians and the Muslims. It has been called Nirvana, basically called Nirvana. So when you think Nirvana, not the band, when you think spiritual Nirvana, Devachanic plane is what we are talking about. And the basic principle of Devachan is that it's a world entirely of thought. So the word Devachan, however, is not completely accurate because it's kind of misleading. For some reason, they all want to mean it to be heaven world. the world of heaven, but more accurately speaking, it is the world where spiritual higher beings reside. So in the Devachanic plane, what happens? Devachan is the land where there is no tears, no sorrow, no sighing, there's no marriage, there's no giving in marriage, and where there is just full perfection. So what do we conclude? If you want to go to Devachan, do not get married. Okay, that's probably not the right conclusion. Probably not the right conclusion. What Devachan means is that there is no attachment to the physical. See, in the concept of marriage, there's a sense of union. There's a one body which is coming into a marriage relationship with another body. It is the contract of two bodies, male, 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 female, 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 doesn't matter. The whole idea of Devachan here is that there is no cause for sadness. There is no cause for unhappiness. There is no cause for anything except realizing the full potential. There is no cause for anything else except the realization of the full potential. So, what happens in the Devachanic? You evolve. In the Devachanic plane, as your consciousness becomes more and more and more refined, you get access to all the information of your past, your present, and your future. You get all the information of all the activities that you've done, your karma that is to be there, the karma that's going to come in the next lives, what kind of body you need to take. In the Devachanic plane, you sit down with the higher beings and you discuss all the mistakes that you made in your past. What are the things you can do to avoid making those same mistakes in the future? You decide, okay, in this lifetime, I'm in a male body or I'm in a female body. In the next lifetime, in order to work out my karma, I need to wear a different body. It can be very tall, it can be very thin, it can be very heavy, it can be very light. The body can be born in a different country. It could be born in India, it could be born in Iran, it could be born in Australia, it could be born in Africa, it could be born anywhere, depending upon the type of karma. So this is a place where you work towards attaining your perfection. And you work out what is the kind of vehicle, what is the kind of karma you need in order to work towards that perfection. You choose your next family members for the next lifetime. You choose who your colleagues will be. You choose the kind of work that you're going to do. So this is a place where you are given a chance to truly evolve as a soul and then go back down into the next lifetime for evolution. So herein, if you look on this chart and the physical body, you've got basically just this level of conversation, this level of awareness. And the astral body, we become more and more aware. In the mental body, where we are now, we become even more aware. And then just from the mental body, as our awareness goes up to the causal body, there's an explosion of consciousness. From one circle to a bigger circle to a slightly bigger circle to over there, that fourth image, it's a huge expansion of consciousness. And from there, we go into the monad, which is the triangles. So the three triangles over there, they represent intelligence, love, willpower, light, love, and power. And that awareness of I am the soul, I am, that comes in. So here is a very interesting concept. It's not strictly in the book, but it's in the associated readings. Have you heard of this saying that, okay, there is no such thing as free will, there's only destiny? So you got some people who talk only about destiny, you got some people who only talk about free will. So how do you correlate the two? How do you marry the two? It's something like this. At what stage does it operate? When you talk about free will, are we talking about the free will of the physical body? Are we talking about the free will of the soul? Or are we talking about the free will of the higher soul? So the context is, the question is, to whom does this apply? And when we talk about destiny, are we talking about the destiny of the body? Are we talking about the destiny of the soul? Are we talking about the destiny of the higher soul? What are we talking about? So in order to simplify matters, it's like this. You are in a physical body and you have certain things to go through in your life. For example, when you're born, you have to go through school. After you're born, of course, you go through school, you go through college, you go through university, you go through higher education. All right. You are destined to do higher education. You have to do it. It's your free will whether you decide to pass those exams or fail those exams. It's your free will that decides whether you choose these subjects or that subjects. It's your free will that decides what you're going to do. The broad path is already kind of written. And this broad path, this destiny, is not given by anybody else except you, the higher soul. So when you have left behind, your physical body is died, your astral body is died, your mental body is died, you've gone to the Devachanic plane, you've gone and speaking with the lords of karma. And over there, you say, okay, for my next lifetime, I would like to choose a female body. I would like to choose to be born in, say, Malaysia. I would choose to be born into a family that has a certain amount of income. I would choose to have these kind of family members. So you, at that higher soul level, you choose all your things. So you have free will. You have complete free will. And you create the blueprint, you create the pathway to your next incarnation, to your next lifetime. And from there, when you are born again in this new body, in your next lifetime, you are already following the free will of your higher soul, except that you've forgotten that you're connected to your higher soul. You are the incarnated soul, but you've forgotten. You think that, oh, I am this man, or I am this woman, I am an Indian, or I am an Iranian, or I am this, I am that. You forget that you have come from there. So it's a process of forgetting who you are and remembering who you actually are. So forget who you are not, remember who you are. So your free will then corresponds to the free will of the higher soul, and then you realize that there's only happiness in life, there is no sadness. So free will and destiny, they work together. We call it destiny because it has already been decided by us. We have just forgotten what it is. How do we know what it is? We have to develop our mental body. How do we develop our mental body? We do a lot of purification. We do a lot of meditation. So if you want to basically have control over your destiny, please do a lot of meditation and purification and character building. And hopefully from there, we can go straight from this small level of physical onto the astral, onto the mental, onto the ego, and then go and unite, become one with the divine spark. So with that said, we've covered so many topics. And with all this information, with all these truths which are as great as life itself, they're very simple. Let the food of knowledge be given to all those who are hungry for it. And what is this knowledge? At the end of the mental body, what have we relearned again? That the soul is immortal, and the future of the soul has only growth and splendor and has no limit. This principle which gives us life, this energy, is inside us and outside us. It is immortal. It is eternally beneficent. You cannot see it or hear it or touch it or smell it, but it is perceived by anyone who desires to perceive it. Each person, each and every one of us, we create our own laws. We ourselves decide whether our lives will be happy or glorious or gloomy. We create and decree our own life, our own reward, our own punishment. We started with this when we started the mental body, the first slide. This is the summary of the mental body. And we went through it for all these classes. We covered the general description, the mental elemental essence, the composition and structure of the whole thing. We went on to cover the functions of the mental body. We had all these beautiful thoughts, these diagrams to explain that we are not the self, we are the sensation, going from the sensation to the concept of back to the self. We went on to going on to the desire mind, the kama manas. We covered the thought waves and the thought forms. We covered the transference of thought and mental healing and all the abilities. We went into consciousness of dhyan, of dharana, of contemplation and samadhi. We went into the Devachanic plane to understand all about destiny and free will. And from there, we went back to the mental body to understand what we were promised to understand from the very beginning itself. Soul is immortal. The energy is within us and outside us, and it's meant to be perceived if we desire to perceive it. And your life is in your control. And it's up to you to decide whether your life will be happy or gloomy, whether it will be brilliant or with despair. You yourself create your own reward and your own punishment. And with the knowledge of the soul, with the knowledge of the mental body, you have the ability to create for yourself a life of your own choice. We have finished the subject of the mental body. The chapter is over. Next week, we'll be going on a break for Diwali, and after that, we shall resume again with the causal body, which is the next step of the mental body, where we deal with the body of causes, the higher soul, karma. If you have any questions, please put them on the WhatsApp group. But for now, thank you for being with us on this journey to understand the mental body. I'm happy you are here. Let's conclude with a thanksgiving. Take a deep breath. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep your arms loose by your side with the palms pointing upwards. Gently bow your head down a little bit and feel a sense of wonder that you are the soul. That you are not the body, not the emotions, not the thoughts, not the mind. You are none of this. You are the soul. I am the soul. I am connected and one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God. I am one with all. Spiritually, there is only oneness. And in the sense of spiritual oneness, as you are aware of yourself as the soul, give thanks to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. Give thanks to the spiritual teacher, Master Chua Kok Sui, to Lord Mahaguruji Meiling, to all the spiritual teachers, the holy gurus, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, to all the spiritual helpers, to the beings of light, to the beings of love and wisdom, to the beings of theosophy. We thank you for your blessings of love, light, and power, for your guidance, help, and protection. Thank you for your blessings of understanding and awareness, that we can use the knowledge and information that we've gathered here to become better channels and better instruments, to become better persons, to have a happy life, a healthy life, a more prosperous and abundant life, to have a life of spirituality, and to use this knowledge of transformation, of being able to transform ourselves and our loved ones, our work, our relationships, our finances, our destiny. Thank you for giving us the ability to become masters of our own destiny. We thank you for your priceless blessings, for your help, for your guidance and your protection. We humbly thank you. With gratitude, with deep respect, with lots of love, with all our love, we thank you in full faith. Atmas, namaste. Open your eyes with a smile. Thank you for being here. See you next time.